All right.
Hey.
Hello.
Welcome to our first episode of Pump and Dump, where normal moms talk about their experiences with being moms and all the ups and downs of motherhood. I'm sitting here with Marlena, who also happens to be my hairdresser.
Hello.
And we just kind of want to start the episode talking about... That was aggressive. We are locked in.
All right. We're hunkering down.
Hold on, what's happening? Oh, because it wasn't on. Okay. All right, well. Some technical difficulties to start off with.
All right. Well, now that we're done with that, I guess, Courtney, do you want to start with, telling us about yourself or even, your birth story?
Yeah, I can definitely talk about my birth story and expectations and how it actually happened as opposed to what I was expecting it to happen. And I know we've talked about this a couple times, but I don't know that we've each had the chance to just fully say our story.
Whole story.
Right, from start to finish. So when we were getting closer to my due date, I was looking into what to expect. We had no idea what we were getting into. Everybody has their own experiences, so you hear all these different stories and you just have no idea what is even going to happen. So I started to do a lot more research into the process. We actually hired a doula. I think I talked to you about that a little bit too. Emily, which that can honestly be its whole own episode with Emily, because she was awesome. And she really helped us to get an idea of what to expect when we get to the hospital, because there's a lot of, I would call them standard procedures that they just kind of go through and do, and
lots that they don't tell you is going to happen, for sure.
Exactly, and they're just going to kind of do it because it's an everyday occurrence for them, but for me and you, it's our very first time having a baby, so we wanted to make it our own unique experience. So I was originally planning to have as natural of a hospital birth as possible. I really did not want the epidural. I was kind of afraid of it. I've heard horror stories about the effects of it. I wanted to kind of just listen to my body and let it do what it's supposed to do. I wanted to labor at home as long as possible. We live, 2 minutes from Westmoreland Hospital, so I wanted to be here as long as I could. And that's the baby. He doesn't like to sit down. So I wanted to be at home as long as I could with our doula. That way, by the time I got to the hospital, we were ready to push, get this baby out, and get out of there.
Yeah.
The night before I went into labor, I think I went to sleep at 10, and Craig is getting stuff ready for work the next day, making noise as usual, and wakes me up an hour later. And at that point, I start to have lower back pain, and I'm like, I've been having this for a month now. Is it labor? Is it not? At what point do I know it's actually happening? So I let it go for a while. I labored at home for about 7 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I don't think I woke Craig up until 2 a.m. because I didn't want to wake him up if it wasn't actually happening, So I was like, I think it's happening. He's like, all right, let me time your contractions. But my contractions were not, it was back labor, so it wasn't start and stop, which was my whole plan. I was like, okay, I can get through a minute of a contraction. Yeah. I can do a minute of anything.
Exactly.
However, it did not stop. I was in just constant pain. I couldn't sit, I couldn't lay down. I was just in pain. And so he's trying to count them. He's like, let me know when one starts and stops. And I'm like, they're not stopping.
Which is also so hard to tell, too.
Right.
Because you don't know what they feel like at first.
Exactly.
And you're I don't know, maybe.
Right. You have no idea what is actually happening, if it's the real thing. So at a certain point, he gets up and accepts that it's probably happening at some point here. And I think my water broke while I was throwing up because I got so sick. Yeah.
I couldn't imagine having labor and throwing up.
Yeah.
In the back pain.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
It was not how I expected it to go at all. I honestly threw up everything that was in me. Okay, Craig.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, thank you, producer Craig.
Thank you.
Keeping us professional here.
You can move the mic around as you feel comfortable.
All right, perfect.
I just wasn't picking you up very much.
Okay.
You're good.
So where was I? Oh yeah, the throwing up.
yes.
Yes, lots of throwing up before, during, labor, the whole time. I mean, I started my pregnancy very sick.
Me too. Thankfully, it did not continue the whole way to the end.
How long did yours last?
I was super bad, like probably till, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 months.
Wow. Oh, I remember you telling me you always had to have a bag in your car.
Yes,
At all times.
I was, actively throwing up in the car, at work, like in between clients. It was bad. And then it went away, and then it came back a little bit towards the end, but it didn't last too long. It was just a couple times. So
That's good.
yeah, thankful for that.
Mine went away, and I went out with a bang with it. So, yeah, I'm getting to the point where I am like, Craig, this baby's coming out of me right now. We need to go to the hospital. He's like, but Emily's not here, the doula. She needs to get here and help us. And I'm like, no, like, we need to go to the hospital. I'm freaking out. And he somehow gets me to hold off to her getting to our house. Mind you, my plan was to stay at home as long as possible. So she gets there, I'm down on like my knees against my bed at this point. Just, I'm shaking. I'm spent.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. And she's like, sitting there with me, like helping me talk about the things that we, practiced and what I wanted, and everything basically went out the window for me. And I'm like, I think it's time. And she's like, all right, let's go. So we pack up and head to the hospital. We get there, and I'm like mid checking out, throwing up still. And so they like sped up the process. They're like, all right, let's get her up there. At this point, I think it's 7 a.m.
Okay.
So I get up there, and again, I'm still thinking, I'm ready to have this baby right now. And going into it, my plan was to not get checked for dilation.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't checked at all at any appointment up at that point. So that's what they want to do as soon as you get there, obviously, to see if you're far along enough to stay. Mm-hmm. So I let her check, and I was 4 centimeters.
Yeah, so you were ready to stay.
Ready to not have a baby yet.
Yeah, but you were ready to stay at the hospital still.
Yep, I was at least far enough along to stay at the hospital, but I was not far along enough to make it.
To push, no way.
No, I was like, I've been doing this for 7 hours. How am I going to go 7 more hours? I'm exhausted, so I'm trying at this point to hang on, but I'm like, I need help.
Yeah.
I need this epidural right now.
Yeah.
So I did. I ended up getting the epidural, which everything went smoothly, thankfully, with that. And then I felt a lot better, obviously.
Yes, it's crazy how quick that kicks in.
Yeah. And then, I wanted to be able to recharge, so I was able and ready to push.
Yeah, that way you're not exhausted by the time you need to push.
Have to do the real work, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think by 1:30, I was feeling the urge, what I thought was the urge to push. Now, mind you, I have the epidural, so I'm not really feeling the same contractions as I was before, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
So I started pushing. I pushed for 4 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was brutal.
Yikes.
I feel like,
It's exhausting.
yeah, I don't know how I did it.
Yeah.
My mom was there. She wasn't supposed to be there in the room. I thought we were only allowed 2 people, so it was going to be Craig and our doula.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, before I had the epidural, like right when we got there, I'm leaning against the back of the hospital bed in so much pain. And I look out the corner of my eye, and I see my mom walk in. And I'm like, what? How are you here? She's like, I don't know if I'm allowed to be here. I'm just going to stay in the background. Like, I'm just going to pretend I'm not here. And she knew that, like, she wasn't sure if I wanted her to be there.
Yeah.
So she didn't want to, like, piss me off.
Yeah.
So she was like, I'm just not going to say anything.
Be a fly on the wall.
Yes, it's exactly
Here
it.
if you want her.
Yes. And she was. She was there when I was ready for her to be there for me. And I'm so glad she could be a part of that. But, yeah, with her, Craig, Emily, like, my cheerleaders. And it was awesome. I tried not every position, because once you have the epidural, you can't move.
Yeah.
Like, your legs are numb.
Yeah.
So I was kind of bummed about that. I wanted the chance to move around and try different positions, but it was kind of restricted.
Yeah.
And my whole goal was really to not do back labor, because I heard that makes it harder for the baby to come out.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up delivering on my back. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Definitely
definitely changes, like, what you think's going to happen versus what
Yes.
actually happens.
Right. Because you don't know.
No.
I had no idea what I was getting into.
Especially for your first time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, push for 4 hours. And you know what's so funny to me? The whole time I'm pushing, I'm getting closer, and my mom and Craig were like, he's almost out. He's so close. I'm like, you've been saying that for an hour now, okay? Like, he's not about to come out, I'm aware. Also, the nurse is the only one in the room at this point. There are no doctors. So I'm aware that the baby's not coming out yet.
Right.
And then once you start seeing that whole hospital staff come in, you're like, all right.
It's happening.
He's coming.
Yep.
So, yeah, everything went smoothly with that. I did get a secondary tear. Prior to that happening, though, my doctor was like, do you want me to cut you a little bit? Mm-hmm. She's like, it's not an episiotomy. Mm-hmm. And I was like, pretty sure that's what an episiotomy is.
Right.
But no, thank you. I absolutely do not want you to do that. I want to let it happen how it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Or how it will happen. So I stood my ground on that, which I was glad. But I did tear. But it wasn't that bad. I thought it was going to be worse. And the whole time she's like doing whatever she's doing, she's like, I told you so.
The doctor?
Yes.
Ew.
She's like, I told you this would happen. I was like, okay.
I'd be like, okay, yeah, I knew it was going to happen.
Right.
Thank you.
Do your job. Just finish stitching me up. Thanks.
Right.
Yeah. So that was kind of annoying. But...
I feel like they just get annoyed when you don't do exactly what they want you to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like half of the things they want you to do is just because they want to speed up the process.
Absolutely. Because they have, you're not the only one there having a baby. They have other things to do.
Yep.
I forgot to mention at one point they wanted to check my dilation again before I started pushing. Mm-hmm. And at that point I knew my water broke and I knew I'm in labor. Mm-hmm. So I was like, no, I really don't want to get checked again. Like, I know I'm in labor. And my doctor came in, ironically, right when my doula had to step out.
Of course.
Right. And she was like, we need to check you. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want it. Like, is it required? And she said, we just need to know how far along you are. And pretty much pressured me. And at that point, I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
Go ahead. And luckily it was 10 centimeters at that point, so they didn't have to check again. But I was, very much pushy, wanting me to do what she wanted me to do, not what I wanted, per se.
I was very worried that that's, like, how it was going to be for me. Thankfully, it wasn't.
Good.
But I was worried about that.
It depends on the doctor.
Yep.
It really depends on the doctor, because I met a few doctors in the practice that
So it was one of the ones you met?
No.
No.
That's what's funny. Yeah, so there's like 12 different doctors in the practice, and they're every, what's the word? Pre-pregnancy? What is the word? Not pre-pregnancy. Prepartum? You know what it is.
Yeah. I don't know.
Pregnancy appointments.
Yes. We'll go
They're
with that.
like,
We'll go with that.
There's a word for it. Let me know what that is. Every appointment, they were like, schedule with a different doctor so you get to know them. That way, in case they're the ones on on...
Preconception.
No.
That's what it says online.
I was conceived. We were conceived.
I don't know.
It's right there.
It's, we know what it is. Do you know what it is, guys? You can figure it out. It's good.
So...
You get the gist.
I thought I had met every doctor at that point. I go in there, whole new doctor. I've never even met her. Never even seen her before. And I'm like, what was the point of meeting all these doctors? She didn't know me. I mean, I had my birth plan, like, written out. But whether or not she cared to look at it, probably didn't. So that was frustrating. I think looking back, if we have a second one, I would really want to find a practice where it's a couple doctors. That way they know me and what I want.
Yeah, mine, I only saw 2 doctors, and then the rest were, the PAs and everything. But,
really?
But still didn't get one of the 2. So
what?
Yeah.
It was good they were both not on call? Or?
Yeah, they went from being, like, on call all the time, and then they switched their work schedule, like, the month before I gave birth. And I came in, and they were like, okay, this is so-and-so. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, this is the doctor. I'm like, so my doctor isn't going to be here? They're like, oh, no, he's not on call. She's not on call. So this is so-and-so. I'm like, okay.
So even in that scenario, you're still not. That's frustrating.
Thankfully, she was great, but it's just good. Like...
It makes you nervous. This is a very intimate and, like,
it just,
serious thing
puts you on edge a little bit because you're like, well, I don't know this person. Like, are they good? You just don't know. But it worked out.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
So, is that the end of your birth story?
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. Everything after that went well,
How much did Cash weigh?
7 pounds, 13 ounces.
Okay.
He was the biggest baby on my side of the family.
Wow.
And I'm
Lucky you.
the smallest person in my family, probably. So I'm like, great. Love that for me. But yeah, he was perfectly healthy. We're lucky, no serious complications with that. We got to do our hour of skin to skin. The umbilical cord.
Mm-hmm.
So, we wanted to do the delayed cord clamping.
Mm-hmm.
I read all about how that's, getting
Yep.
the rest of what's in your placenta.
It's like the 60 seconds, right?
So, yeah, it's at least 60 seconds, I'd say, or until it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when he came out, supposedly my doctor said the cord was wrapped around his neck.
Uh-huh.
Whether it was or not, I don't know. It all happened so fast.
Yeah.
So you don't know.
Yes.
So she said it was wrapped around. She's like, I have to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
So she just did it. And it was kind of frustrating because, we wanted that time with it.
Mm-hmm.
Craig didn't get to cut it, although I don't think he really wanted to cut it. So they let my mom cut like a piece of it off, which it was like, ugh, it was so weird. I did not like that part.
I feel like the texture of cutting it would just be so gross. I don't know.
Well, I didn't cut it, but I was like there, like right there.
Yes.
And it was disgusting.
Yeah.
It's all disgusting.
It is.
It really is. It's beautiful. It's like the most amazing miracle that happens.
It's amazingly disgusting.
I love that. It is amazingly disgusting. It's a great way to describe it because, yeah, there's a lot. And no, after that it was good. Our doula stayed for about an hour after that.
Good.
Just kind of supportive with us with any questions that we had after that point. But
so it's kind of funny because I feel like I am the total opposite of you.
really,
Yes. I had all intentions of planning and doing things, and I did nothing. Like, I didn't take classes. I bought the book, What to Expect, did not read it.
I started to, but I was like, this is kind of boring.
Yeah, I was like, meh. And then, what else? Me and Brandon put off, doing the nursery for, the longest time because we were just, in the process of doing other projects on the house.
Right.
Yeah, so I went in kind of blind. My mom was so pissed at me for that. She was like, you're not going to know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm going to figure it out. But, I mean, I have 2 jobs. I'm busy.
Right,
When am I supposed to go to classes or stuff like that? So I was like, well, whatever. So I...
Just kind of winging it.
Yeah,
Going.
that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
So it was a Tuesday. Well, at first they told me... I went into my first appointment. My due date on my phone said September 9th.
Okay.
And then when I got to the doctors and they did the ultrasound, they were like, no, that's wrong. We're going to change it to September 21st. And I was like, well, that's a huge
That's not even
jump.
close.
Yeah.
They pushed you back.
Yes, 2 weeks.
That doesn't even sound like a normal thing a doctor would do.
No.
Normally they're like 39 weeks. Do you want to do your induction now?
Right.
You wanna schedule that?
So I was like, okay. And I was kind of bummed. I'm like, oh, now I got to wait longer. But I was like, okay, whatever. But the whole pregnancy, I was measuring a week ahead. So I was like, okay, maybe my due date's in the middle, the 15th or something.
Yeah.
But I was huge. And I was like, there is no way I'm making it to the 21st. And
I know, I saw you. I had to get in one last hair appointment before you had the baby, and you were like, I'm done.
Yeah, literally a huge watermelon was just inside of me, I swear. And
A beautiful watermelon name, Sadie.
oh, thank God she's out. My goodness. But yeah, so everyone's like, I don't know. This is your first one. You're probably going to go late. And I'm like, I literally know I'm not, but thanks for that. So it was a Tuesday. I went into work. I wasn't feeling fantastic. Had 3 nosebleeds, which is so weird for me. And
Really?
then, so I have high heart rate to begin with.
Okay.
So I take medicine that regulates it. It's been regulated for a year now. So it's been normal. But then my watch kept going off. It was super high. I was working.
Wow.
It was 173 and I was just sitting. So yeah. So I was like, okay, well something's up. So everyone convinced me to go to the doctor and I eventually did. He was a terrible doctor. My PCP was on vacation, but that's a whole nother story. So
you were their doctors. They do not want to be available for you.
They don't like to see me, I guess. So then that was Tuesday. Wednesday, I went to the doctor. He didn't help me at all. And then I was like, whatever, I'm just going to relax. I went and got my eyelashes done. I took my dog for a walk, and then I had a massage.
Oh.
So I had my massage, came home, and it's like 11 o'clock, and we're getting ready for bed. So I'm putting...
11 p.m., okay.
Yes, 11 p.m. I'm putting my dog in his crate, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm pretty sure I didn't pee my pants, but I was like, Brandon, I think my water just broke. And he was like, what? And I was like, and I didn't say anything. I just like went to the bathroom. And I was like, yep, it definitely did.
Which is crazy.
Because apparently that doesn't happen a lot anymore.
It's not that common.
Yeah.
It is. Because movies make it seem like you have this big gush of water
Yep.
and then you're off to the hospital.
Yep.
But it's very
different.
Yeah, it's uncommon.
And they don't tell you any details about it at all. Like, no. It's like, I thought it was just going to be like one and done. No, my water broke like 5 or 7 times. Yep. And they're like, yeah, that's normal. I'm like, oh, well, I had no idea.
Right.
Like, okay. So I go back in the room. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm Googling. I'm like, Googling what? And he was like, how fast you're supposed to go to the hospital after this? And I was like, okay. And he's like, isn't there a number you can call? And I'm like,
911?
I'm like, maybe. I got to look through my papers. So I sift through. I call, the midwife answers, and she's like, are you having contractions? I'm like, no, not at all. And she's like, okay, well, just go ahead and head in. So I go in, and by the time I get there, it's like 45 minutes because we went to Forbes.
Okay.
So 45 minutes to an hour, like an hour later, we're upstairs in the room, like getting settled and everything. And I went from like no contractions to every other minute.
Whoa.
Yeah. It did not.
That's fast.
It did not go slowly or like the progression was like 1 to 100, like right away.
Nothing to prepare you. Just...
No. So they're like asking me all these questions, and I'm like super uncomfortable, like fidgeting, and like I just couldn't recover. Like, it was so quick that it was just like back to back.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, we have to get blood work to make sure you can get an epidural. And I'm like, ugh.
Oh, you didn't even have that at that point?
No.
Wow.
No. So it's like.
Yeah, because they would check your platelet levels, I believe?
Yeah, I think so.
To make sure if they're too. Mine were close to being too low, I think.
I didn't even ask.
Yeah, like, give me an epidural either way.
Right. So by the time I was able to get my epidural, it was like 2 a.m. So, which I was terrified to get the epidural.
I was going to ask you if you were planning on it, or...
I was planning on it, but at the same time,
scared.
I was terrified.
No, I mean a big needle in your spine.
Yeah, and they make, your husband leave the room. So
really?
Yeah.
They let Craig stay with me.
They did not let Brandon stay. They were like, everything's sterile, so he has to leave. And I was like, oh, okay.
But like... What about when you push the baby out? He's going to be there.
Right. I don't even know. So my one request, I was like, I don't want a resident. Like, I don't.
We don't want to mess around with this.
So they were like, okay, that's fine. So the anesthesiologist comes, and she's like, meanwhile, it's hard to sit still because
I know. You're
having contraction every other minute. And it was just awful. So she's like, okay, are you an athlete? And I was like, I'm the farthest thing from an athlete. No, why? And
what does that have to do with this?
She's like, oh, your tendons and ligaments are just super tight and close together, so it makes it a little harder for me. I'm like, fantastic. Okay, like, awesome.
Why even tell me that?
So she finally was able to, like, get the needle in. And you know how they say, like, don't jump at all?
Yeah.
I jumped so much. Oh. Like, I'm glad I didn't.
Out of, like, pain?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
I was so glad that I, like, didn't F it up. But, oh, my God, I definitely jumped. Like, sprung straight up.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my. Well, that Craig got to be like in front of me, so I was like holding on to him.
I was holding on to the nurse.
Okay.
Because I had no one else. But yeah, so I got the epidural. Like, a couple minutes later, Brandon came in. He's like, okay, well, he had told me I was being dramatic. Before. Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Cute. Love that.
Yes. So he was like, you're being dramatic. I was like, okay. But then he came back in. He's like, wow, you're fine now. I'm like, yes, I am fine. So then they were like, all right, well, you're at 4 centimeters. Go ahead and take a nap. So I was able to take a nap.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
Yes. So I napped from like, I don't know, maybe like 3 a.m. till like 5:30-ish or 6.
Okay, well, it was like nighttime, so that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
So me and him got to take a nap, and then they woke me up, and they're like, all right, you're 10 centimeters. Like, let's start pushing. So I got around, started pushing. Only pushed for 45 minutes. So that was nice. Yeah. And, little Sadie was born. But,
she was small, though, right?
6 pounds 14 ounces. Yes.
A whole pound less than Cash.
Yes. So she was little, and it was just like, I don't know. I was kind of pissed because I wanted to do the delayed cord clamping, and Brandon was like, yeah, they probably delayed it like 10 seconds, and then they were like, you need to cut it.
Yeah.
And he was
What's
like,
up with that?
I don't know. Like, I don't understand, like, why they're in such a rush if nothing is wrong.
Right.
But, so I was kind of annoyed with that. But, I mean, it is what it is. She's fine and whatever. But Brandon's like, well, a thought went through my head, like, oh, I could drop the scissors and, like, delay it. And I was like, yeah, Brand, that would be great. Like, you know.
I could, like, pass out.
Right. So.
Was he there, like, up with you the whole time? Or where was he at during
he was
labor?
Standing next to me.
Okay. Did he ever, like, peek down?
He was not down there, no. I said, do not go down there.
Really?
Yes. I was like, you're going to stay up here with me. But yeah.
I don't know what because I'm normally a very modest person. Like, I do not like showing anything.
Yes.
But at one point, we were there, and I did not care.
You just don't care.
No, I did not care.
At that point, it's like, whatever.
Whoever sees it, like, just get this
They
baby
were like,
out of me.
can we bring a student in? I'm like, I don't care.
They didn't even ask. I'm pretty sure there was a student in there at one point, and Craig was, like, down in there. He'd be like, babe, there's hair. He has hair. Come on, keep pushing. We're going to need to schedule a hair appointment for him. Like, that was my encouragement, was to get him a haircut. I don't know.
Yeah, well, they were like, okay, the head's out. And they were like, okay, now the shoulder. And like, Brandon was like, I heard a pop when the shoulder came out. I'm like, that's lovely. Thank you for sharing that.
I could have lived my whole life without knowing that.
But she came out, and she did not cry. She was wide-eyed, like, just staring at me. And I was just, like, looking at her for, like, a solid, like, 10 seconds. And then I was like, wait.
Why is she not crying?
Why is she not crying? Like, what's wrong with her? And they were like, she's fine. She's just content.
Oh.
So they took her
That's
over.
another thing I feel like movies really screw you up with. They make you think your baby has to come out screaming off the top of their lungs.
And they make it sound like you're going to scream the whole time.
True, right.
I did not know you had to hold your breath.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea.
See, that's why I think I pushed for so long, because I don't think I was pushing correctly at the beginning. Because, again, I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, I thought I was going to pass out because I was holding my breath so much.
Yeah, I would. So my doula made the nurse get, like, every type of bar they have. Because they have the big bar for you to, like, stand up on.
Okay.
They have, like, 2 handles down below. I'm, like, moving away. Yeah, so she brought out I had a peanut ball, yoga ball.
I had none of that. I had a peanut ball.
Really?
That was it.
I like the peanut ball.
That's what they had me. That's what they had me take a nap with.
Oh,
they like
to hold. Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah,
to keep your
to like help me dilate quicker.
Keep
I guess.
it open. Yeah,
but,
that makes sense.
But yeah, it was crazy, and I also didn't know that like the midwife and the nurse were going to like deliver her like 90% of the way. I had no idea.
Me either. Like, the nurse did all the work.
Yeah.
I loved her. She was amazing. Her and my doula worked so well together.
Yeah.
They
Mine
just
were
like,
too.
Do you want to try this? I've done this before. Have you done this? No. And I'm like,
they were so, like, easygoing, not pushy at all. Like, it was super nice.
Until the doctor comes in.
And my doctor was even really nice. She was like, you're doing great. Just keep doing what you're doing. And then, I mean, I saw her for, like, a whole 15 minutes. And then she was out. I'm like, all right, thanks, bye.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, my doctor, she was good cheering me on, which was nice, but she's just pushy with what she wanted me to do. But yeah, I mean, what was your experience with the midwife? Did they just assign her to you, or?
So apparently Forbes has one. Like,
okay,
I had no
just
idea.
There for every birth.
Yeah, I guess so. So when I called in to like say my water broke, like what should I do? I was actually talking to her, and she was like, okay, come on in. And then when I got there, she was like, yeah, when we talked on the phone, I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that was you. And she was like, yeah, I'm here, like, you know, I don't know if she's like there for just like people that come through the night and like the doctors aren't there to call and talk to or what, or if she's there for everyone. But she was so good, so nice. Like,
now did she help? Was she part of checking your dilation? Like, did she do it?
So actually the nurse was on my side, and then the midwife, you know, was down below and like doing everything. So
not the nurse.
No.
Interesting.
And yeah. I had no idea that like
I
that's
feel
how
like
it was gonna go.
Westmoreland did not provide a midwife, I don't believe. But after using a doula,
They do have one on staff, but we didn't have one.
Well, we had a doula, so which a doula is not
they're more like your spokesperson and support, right?
They're your advocate, basically.
Yeah.
And I think every hospital should provide a doula because it's a nice buffer between you and the doctor, because the doctor in the hospital has the things that they need to do, which are totally understandable. You're giving birth in a hospital.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always align with what you want to do.
Yeah.
And like I said, I would love to have my doula come on and talk about what she does because it's amazing.
I feel like a lot of people don't even know about them
a
either.
doula. No, we didn't. We weren't planning on using one. We started going to the chiropractor. And his daughter is the doula.
Yeah, Tressler, right?
Yeah, Dr. Tressler, yep.
Yes.
So he was like, my daughter's a doula, you should, talk to her. At that point, she had just had a baby herself in February, so I wasn't sure, like, her schedule and things like that. But, yeah, we met with her. We did, like, an introduction to kind of tell her what our expectations were and to make sure it kind of aligned with what she wanted and what, she believed in, essentially. So, once we all agreed that it was a good fit, then we had a couple more appointments. She was always there, like, for me to text. I'd be like, I'm having this feeling. Is this normal? She's like, yeah. But her solution all the time was always take a bath or drink water. And honestly, that was always what helped me, was to take a bath or drink water.
Wow. See, I would just text, like, so my sister-in-law and one of my best friends, they both, like, are, nurses, and my sister-in-law has her master's, and it was just like every time I didn't know something, I'm like, is this normal? Should I do this? I got my levels back. What does this mean?
Yeah.
Like, why is this low? Why is this high? But yeah, it was nice to have them to just text.
Reassure you. Just like, that's normal.
Yep.
What you're feeling's normal, and try this to see if this will help. So yeah, I even text her, like, to this day still with help. And she's super supportive, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's super nice.
33 minutes.
Oh, wow. I feel like we've been going a lot longer.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're 30-minute episodes are
What was
possibly decent.
How's it been since you got home? I wish I had the microphone on.
Wait, what?
Like coming home from the hospital.
Wait, since you've been home from the hospital, how has that been? Is anything different than you expected having a kid, or is having a baby exactly what you thought it would be?
He always calls it a kid, by the way. It's rarely ever a baby. They're just straight a kid.
Straight to the kid.
Yeah.
Let's see. How did I think it was gonna be when I got home? Honestly, I thought I would have to, like, entertain her more.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's weird. I'm like, okay, you're gonna eat, and then I'm gonna change you, and then you're gonna go to sleep. And then you sleep for, like, 2 to 3 hours, and then you wake up, and I'm like, oh, like, am I gonna see your eyes? Like, let's play, let's do something. And then I feed her right back to sleep. I'm like, oh, okay.
Newborns are boring.
Yeah,
they're
like,
boring.
I mean, it's nice because, like, I get all the naps in, but still, it's like, okay, is that it? All right.
What else are you gonna do? Can you do any tricks? Like,
right. I'm like, oh, do you want to, like, let's get, like, some of your little toys. And then I'm like, what am I doing? She can't even, like, see this probably. But yeah, sometimes I would, like, be like, oh my God, like, I have a baby. And then I'd, like, go do something, and then be napping, and then I'd, like, be like,
I still have a baby.
I forgot I have a baby. It's like, oh my goodness.
Are you gonna be one of those people that leaves her in the car?
No.
Do you have the sensor in your car that tells you she's in your car?
Probably not.
Oh, we better upgrade.
I don't have, like, a super new car. I think.
Okay. That is a new setting, like a new sensor in vehicles.
That's really
scary.
Like, crazy.
Yeah. So it tells you, like, if you're about to leave your car, I'm pretty sure it, like, beeps at you and says there's something in your backseat.
Like when I have one of those air tags on my keys, and it's like, your keys have been left behind.
Speaking of that, the air tag thing, Craig just rented a truck, and he came home, and he walks in the door, and his phone tells him there's an air tag. And we're like, what? We don't have an air tag?
So it was like tracking the truck.
Yeah, he found it in the glove box of this truck. And it was weird because on the back of the air tag, it said suitcase.
Oh.
And we're like, what?
And then the next day, I found a second one.
Yeah.
In the truck also.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
So he took it apart and everything, but yeah, I'm like, get that out of here. What if somebody's, like, following us?
Yeah.
Like,
What's weird to me is that the person who owns it could still see the location.
Well, yeah.
And they weren't calling Enterprise or concerned at all that their tracker
Right,
is
to go get
driving
it.
all over the place.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was scary.
Yeah, that's weird.
But
Put like an AirTag on your baby.
honestly,
Your baby has been left behind.
Yeah. You could just like set your keys in the back on the baby.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of people have been putting them on their dog collars.
Oh.
Like, I actually was at Apple, and they were like, yeah, a lot of people use this one for dogs because, like, the little clip to, like, connect it is more durable. And I was like, oh, my gosh. Like, I never even thought about it. It's basically like getting your dog chipped without getting them chipped.
Right. I mean, that's probably one cheaper and less invasive
for
the dog.
Yes.
Chester got chipped, so.
My dog would probably eat the AirTag. But, you know.
Try to, like, pull it off of her.
Yeah, probably.
How's your dog been with the baby? Because Rusty's been your baby.
Rusty, yes, Rusty was my baby, and I took him everywhere with me. Like,
he's still a puppy, right?
He just turned 1.
Wow.
So he is still my best friend. Like, I love him to death. Although he might like Sadie more than me now.
He does.
He loves her. Like, when we first brought her home, he was like. He, like, knew. He could, like, smell her, but he didn't know where she was. So he's, like, searching the house.
So what did you do when you brought her home to introduce him?
I sent a blanket home with my parents because they were watching him while we were in the hospital. So I sent the blanket home, and they gave it to him, and he, like, slept with it, so he knew the scent.
Aww.
So then when we got home, he smelled the same scent. So he was like, okay, I know that, like, this new person or something is here.
Yeah.
So, and then he, like, she was in her car seat, and he was, like, sniffing her and licking her hands and, like, was so excited. Like, I was holding her, and he was just, like, resting his chin, like, on my lap, looking at her. So cute. But, yeah, he's always, like, snuggled up right next to her.
Aw.
What about Chester and Cash?
Yeah, so Chester has also been our baby. But he is older. I don't know. We adopted him 2 years ago. I don't know exactly how old he is, but... yeah, he's very much been our baby prior to Cash, but he did good. We also sent home, Craig stopped home to let him out the one day, and he had him sniff a hat or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it did anything really, but at least it kind of prepared him.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we brought him home, he was super excited. I carried Cash in to, you know, have him associate, you know, because he's been around me pregnant for the last 9 months, so he definitely has known something is happening. So that's how we did it. But he doesn't really seem to do much with Cash. Like, he doesn't get what he is.
Yeah.
He'll try to, like, lay on him.
He's like, are you here to stay?
Yeah, he definitely wouldn't care if he left.
Yeah, right.
But he does like him. He'll give him, like, little kisses. He knows to be gentle with him.
Yeah, isn't it crazy how they, like, know to just, like, be, like, docile and, yeah.
Yeah, because he's super rambunctious. Like, he...
yeah, so is Rusty. Like, he's a nut.
Yeah. But with the baby, they're just like...
you know how, like, they say, oh, like, your pets will know when you're pregnant and they'll lay on your belly?
Yes.
No. Rusty was a spaz. He would, like, jump on me and, like, he likes to, like, sit on my shoulder.
Oh my gosh.
He would, like, you know, just, like, jump up right on my belly. I'm like, dude, you're crushing your sister. Like, get off.
Be gentle.
But...
Chester loved my belly. He used it as a pillow.
Aww.
I think he genuinely misses my belly for his pillow. It was the cutest thing. But yeah, I think once Cash gets older, Chester will like him more because
I agree. I feel like right now he's just
run
like,
after him.
Like, why you just sit there and sleep
and cry.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he loves her.
That's good.
I think she's gonna like him too. Hopefully.
Once they're old enough to be carrying around food.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, what else? Anything else for today?
Have you had any, like, unique experiences? Pretty much since bringing the baby home, or either. Like, anything that you weren't really, like, expecting to happen?
Let me think about that.
Do
you have anything off the top of your head?
No.
For myself, I'm surprised how much Cash will just like how much of a personality he already has.
Yeah.
As a young baby, where like when he's trying to get your attention, because the only way they communicate is through crying.
Yeah.
How he uses that so effectively.
Yes, that
I thought it would be more like sporadic,
Do
like
you-
just like whatever
Yeah.
crying instead of it's like definitely
specifically crying.
crying for a specific reason.
Yeah, do you notice that they have like different cries that sound
Yeah.
different for what they want?
I haven't put like them together to know what the cry is, but I have noticed different cries. Yeah.
So my favorite is when Sadie is eating and like she will be getting milk and like she either like starts to fall asleep or forgets what she's doing and gets angry and I'm like, girlfriend, like you just drink, like you're there.
Hello.
And it's just like it's almost like a fake cry whine and it is so cute. Like I crack up every time.
You know you're faking it.
It's literally it sounds fake. She's like, wah! Like it's literally a fake
That's
cry.
what Craig would say when we first brought Cash home, and he would cry, and he was like, "It doesn't even sound like he's really." And you know they don't have tears yet.
Yeah.
So he's like, he doesn't even sound like he's actually crying.
Yeah.
But yeah, Craig was very much at the beginning like the cry it out method. He was like, just let him like cry for a little. I'm like, Craig, he's a new baby. He can't like that's how he's telling us something. Mm-hmm. And then he listens to one podcast, one Joe Rogan podcast, and then they talked about not letting your baby cry. And
Yeah, Joe Rogan had I guess an expert come on and talk about the emotional support, how like a baby is in this process in the early stages of their life developing whether or not they can be loved or not. And if you just let them cry it out, they kind of associate it with like I'm not lovable. So
well, that's
feeling
super sad.
abandoned. I know.
yeah. So I kind of changed my point of view on because I was just letting them cry.
Yeah, and I would go crazy. I'm like, how are you letting him cry? Like, pick him up, do something. And he's like, I think it's weird. I don't think men have the same. I don't even know what it's called on instinct, but like when a woman hears a baby cry, their first instinct is to be like, make them stop.
Yeah.
How do I make them better and make them stop? And a guy is just like, meh, he's crying. Same thing with like Chester. Chester's barking his head off. I'm like, how do I make you stop barking? He's like, it's not even bothering me.
Yeah.
I'm like, how?
Yeah. I don't know. We just have that instinct.
Yeah, I think it's.
I mean, they start crying and like literally our boobs start leaking.
Literally,
So
yeah. So our body,
we're programmed to do
whether or not we
something.
want to. Yeah, our body's
Yes.
just like I see. Mine, I never leaked.
Oh God.
I tingled. Like
See,
it's a weird feeling.
I get both.
Okay.
Like it's weird. Like if she cries, like I will leak. But if like if I'm just like super engorged and like need to pump or feed her,
Like it's been
it'll
about
be
that time.
Yeah, it'll like almost
It'll
tingle, and then
tingle.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, okay, I guess I should pump or.
I wonder what like makes you leak or not leak. I always have known you like women to leak, so I have all these breast pads and
I know.
I never did. I don't know why.
I gave up on the breast pads. I'm like, whatever. I just
Yeah.
will do laundry every day because whatever.
I've seen there's like cloth ones.
Yeah, I have the
Oh, okay.
cloth ones. But they're nice.
They work better. At least you can reuse them.
Yeah.
When you're saying that you tingle when they cry, is it like a physical sensation on the body, or is it more like over like your whole body as an
No,
emotion?
like
No.
just your boobs.
Yeah.
Just like your boobs are
Yeah.
tingling.
Yeah.
When you're that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you can feel the milk like getting ready.
Yeah.
I find it
coming
very
out.
interesting the way the woman is able to connect with the baby like that, just like naturally, where
I am fascinated by breastfeeding.
It-
yeah,
it's-
it's a very interesting.
Another miracle. Like it doesn't make sense.
Like, it really doesn't. Like, you go from just being like, completely normal
No
and
milk.
then you
No
have a
milk.
baby and you turn into a cow. It's like, what just happened? Like, where did all this milk come from?
Yeah,
But-
and it happens gradually. I remember at the beginning when you first had Sadie, you were like, "Where's my milk?"
Yeah.
like it's not coming.
It's like,
But
those few drops that you give them, that's enough to nourish them. I'm like, what?
How? Because
I'm
it's
like,
that colostrum,
yes,
that
and
good milk.
It's crazy, but that stuff is like liquid gold.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know. I feel like we've both struggled with our supply, so.
Yeah, we definitely can relate
Yeah.
on that. I feel like we're in a very similar. We're definitely not oversuppliers.
No. But
And you know what?
I feel like that's a whole other episode that like we
Honestly.
need everyone to talk about
Yeah,
their
'cause-
supply and everything like that.
And then you go on social media, on TikTok, and you see all these women they have to get deep freezers full of frozen stash. So I'm like, oh, I have to get these freezer bags, freeze all my milk, create a supply for when I go back to work. And yeah, it was really hard, especially when you're on maternity leave alone. I'm sure once Brandon went back to work, trying to take care of the baby, take care of yourself, feed the baby. and pump.
All I do
How?
is pump, wash my pump,
Yes.
and feed her. And then repeat.
Repeat. Yeah.
Although I froze my first bag of
I
milk
saw
yesterday,
that.
and I'm so
Congratulations.
excited. I feel like that's such an accomplishment.
Yes,
even
it
though
is.
it's one
and it's a
bag.
full, but it's a full bag. When I first
Yeah.
started doing that, there were like 1.4 ounces in them. I'm like, what was the point of that?
I was super excited.
Yeah, that is. Isn't it crazy how excited you can get over like your milk?
Yes.
Like when I have a full bottle of my milk,
yes.
I'm like, wow, this
Yes.
is great. I love this.
Like I take my pump off, I'm like, oh my god, I got 2 ounces.
Yeah.
But
The
Brandon's
smallest
actually
achievements.
fascinated with it too.
Really?
Like, yes.
Okay.
The
Is he
Haka,
very-
he is
okay.
fascinated by. Honestly, I hate the Haka. I think it hurts my boob.
It
But
does sometimes hurt.
but he is fascinated.
It's just like, how is that happening?
Yeah. Like, he's just like, it's just a steady drip coming. I'm like, oh my god.
Well, yeah, I mean, and if you haven't seen it before, I think that's another big piece of this is we've kind of gotten to a point, and it's getting better, where breastfeeding is not something that's open. Like, nobody wants to really openly talk about it or
Yeah,
see it.
yes.
People just are like, my God, your boob, put it away. I'm like, it's food.
Yeah.
It's food for my baby. I'm not being sexual about it. It shouldn't be
Exactly.
sexual anyway.
No.
So I think that has hindered at least our generation, maybe the generation before too, from having exposure to breastfeeding and what all it entails.
So the other day, I was actually talking to my aunt about this because my mom struggled with this, with like, you know, being like shamed for breastfeeding. But like,
Terrible.
so not our parents, but their parents. So like
Yeah.
our grandparents'
We're
generation.
shaming them.
Yes. Their generation, like, a lot of them didn't breastfeed because
Yeah, you know
formula
what?
had just come out. And it
Yes.
was like the cool thing. Like, you were like poor if you breastfed, which
I
didn't
do
know.
agree with that. Yeah, I think Craig's grandmother was one who she used, I believe she used formula too, if I can remember correctly. And I agree. I think it was that time period
Yeah.
that it was just coming out, so it was pushed way more.
Yes. And they're like, oh, this
And-
is the new cool fad thing to
Right.
do.
And then I think our mom's generation were kind of like in between there, where it was
Yeah.
like, we feel like breastfeeding should be brought
Which
back.
grandma were you talking about?
Mimi.
She'd said that as soon as she had the babies, she would like ask for them to give them the breast.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I might be confusing somebody, so
Yeah.
I take it back. But I remember somebody saying that formula was pushed more. But yeah, I think like for my mom, she tried to breastfeed, but she was again shamed for it. I remember she told me a couple times she had to go to the bathroom to do it. And I'm like, I couldn't even imagine sitting in a bathroom stall to feed your baby.
Yeah.
And then she had issues. She thought she didn't have enough supply, which could be possible. You know, obviously we're kind of experiencing that ourselves. But I feel like at the beginning, if you're not familiar with breastfeeding, you don't realize that like you're not going to have a lot of milk yet.
Yes. And no one taught me anything. I mean, my fault. I should have taken some classes. But like, the only thing they were concerned about was latching. They
Yeah.
were like, get your baby to latch. And I'm like, I get that, but she is latching.
And then
But-
what? Then what if she's not?
Like,
Or, I mean,
they-
if she is, but
So for the
Still not
first 2
working.
weeks, I had no idea that I was supposed to pump after I was feeding.
Hmm.
So that would have helped my milk come in a lot better, but I had no idea.
right.
So I was like, I
Yeah,
don't
because
know.
it kind of tricks your body into thinking you need to make more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the first 2 weeks, I was struggling, but
I
like
didn't-
no one
I
had
didn't-
told me
yeah.
the ins and outs of it.
Right.
So that was frustrating.
Luckily, Craig's cousin used to be a lactation consultant, so I literally would send her like videos, like, is he latched on correctly? Am I doing this right? So she was a huge help. I honestly, if I didn't have the support that I had from Craig, his cousin, this group of us moms with breastfeeding, I would have quit. 100%. I would have
Yeah.
quit like long, long ago.
I love our mom group.
I know. It's crazy that we all went to high school together, but none of us really ever associate. It's not that we didn't like each other.
Were, like,
we just,
acquaintances. Like
Yeah.
we would like maybe say hi to each other, but
Correct.
like that was it.
yeah, we never really hung out.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we all,
It's like boom, we're all having babies.
at the same, like back to back to back. I mean, you and Sam are days apart.
Me and Sam are 2 days apart. I know 2 other people that have my due date too.
Really?
Yes, that they were born on the same day.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's just like baby central right
It
now.
is. Yeah, and you really have to find a tribe.
Mm-hmm.
I know everybody says it takes a village to raise a baby, but what about the moms? How about takes a tribe to
Takes a tribe of moms to keep each other
to
sane.
keep you sane.
To raise that baby.
Yes, because without the mom.
Yeah,
the
I love it.
babies,
I
yeah.
swear it's so fun because like middle of the night, there's always one of us up
Always,
to talk
at least.
to.
I've been slacking on getting on the chat in the night. I kind of just don't even pick up my phone.
Well, my
at this
charger is currently on the opposite side of the bed because
Ooh.
Brandon and I switched sides
point. We did too.
because of where the bassinet
Yep,
is.
same.
So his charger is like a foot long, so I don't even like use his charger. So mine's on the other side, and at that point I'm like, I don't even feel like going to that side of the bed or waking him up because he doesn't wake up.
You could just switch your chargers.
I could, but I'm not practical. I don't work like that. And then
Maybe
I'll
one day.
and then I'll just charge my phone during the day, like because he's gone.
Well, you're
And
gonna be
I'm
going
home.
back to work soon, so you better figure out a
I
new plan.
know. I just buy a new charger.
There you go.
So
I have a foot-long
you guys
charger.
find the your group chat of all the new moms very helpful? Would you
Yes.
recommend that other new moms find a group like that?
Absolutely.
somewhere
Yes,
out there?
but honestly, I think ours is maxed out because
We might be maxed out. No more new moms.
sometimes I go on there and I'm like, oh my god, there's like a mile long
If
of
I
a
didn't-
thread.
Yeah, if I didn't work from home where I could just kind of have my phone. That's why I'm always.
Brandon's
kinda
always like, what are
posting.
you doing? I'm like, listen, you have a chat with all your guys, and this is much more helpful than that.
Correct.
So,
You guys are. What are you even talking about? Like football, cool.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. You need to have support because, and it's not even. You need to have current.
Yeah, you
support.
can't just be asking like
Your
everyone's like
mom.
ask your mom,
No.
ask your grandma. Like they had kids, yeah, but like 20 years
yeah,
ago,
almost
and
30 years ago.
things
It's
are definitely different.
very different
So, and they don't get it. Like
No.
things are just different.
now. Yeah,
Different times, different like way people act.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so different.
yeah. So it definitely has helped having other moms who are going through the same exact thing, and even as of today, I'm texting the group because Cash decided to poop green, and I'm like, I've never seen that before. Is this normal?
Yep.
And sure enough, another mom experienced green poop, so we were good.
Exactly. Yep, just shooting like troubleshooting off.
Yeah,
Isn't
off
it-
each other.
Isn't it diarrhea?
I don't know. I mean, all of his poop has been diarrhea.
Yeah.
Breastfed babies have
Yes.
some watery poop.
Oh yeah.
It's like puddles.
Yes.
So, but we introduced formula recently, so I think that had to do with his color.
Yes, definitely. Changing up on them.
I know. That's the thing. And everything's always changing, so it's nice to have support for when you have a new stage coming in, and
Agreed.
every month you're starting over, I feel like.
Literally, you are.
A whole new thing. But yeah, I think this was a great first episode.
I agree.
I enjoyed hearing your story from start to finish.
Me too.
Yeah,
I feel like there were some things in there that I didn't know
Yeah.
about yours. So,
same.
but
Yeah, when you have the chance to actually say it with all the details.
yeah, start to finish.
And then it helps other moms who are experiencing this too, that if they have a similar story to us, they can relate.
Mm-hmm. I agree completely. But yeah, I'm looking forward to like keeping this going and
Yes.
it's
Having
just,
more
like-
moms on.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like more women need to be like talking and
Yes.
troubleshooting,
Yeah.
and I feel like
We're all just
this will
winging
help.
it.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Of course. We'll catch you on the next episode.
All right, see you then.
Bye.